Today we'll show you a post-apocalyptic zombie movie from 2016 titled The Ghetto with All the Gifts. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Melanie is lying in bed as the lights in her cell come on. She gets up and starts preparing for school. The soldiers come in and she greets them happily. But the only thing they care about is securing her to the wheelchair they wheel her out in the hallway, getting her in a line with other children like her. Melanie and the others are placed in a classroom, positioned by numbers. Melanie asks the teacher, Miss Justino, to tell them a story. Andy proposes she reads them a myth, so that it could count as history. The teacher complies reluctantly. Andy reads them the myth of Pandora's box. After class, Melanie is taken back to her cell, where the two edgy soldiers refuse to greet her good night. Later, she's given dinner. The serving is a plate full of worms. She falls asleep as she eats. The next day, Melanie gets a visit from Dr. Caldwell. The girl has solved the riddle the doctor had given her, so she gives her a new one, explaining that it's a logic problem. She asks her to solve the problem of Schrodinger's cat. When Melanie can't answer, the doctor writes something down concerning her behavior and reads it back to her, calling her a subject. Lastly, the doctor asks Melanie for a number, and she replies with 13. Later, the soldiers pick her up and the other children for school again. As Melanie is being wheeled past the numbered cells, she sees that no more Tigables hasn't been opened. When she gets to the classroom, the same numbered place remains empty. The teacher decides to give them a writing assignment for that particular class, and the children are worried that they wouldn't know what story to tell. Melanie is the only one writing a longer one in her notebook, so when the teacher asks for someone to read it loud, what they wrote, she quickly raises her hand. She depicts herself as the savior and hero in her writing. The teacher gets overwhelmed by the story, and he goes over to Melanie, wanting to touch her. Suddenly, Sergeant Parks bursts inside the classroom, and he screams that touching the children is forbidden. He wants to give Justino a reminder of why that's the case, so he walks up to one of the children, and he rolls his sleeve, bringing his arm close to it. The child sniffs him and unhinges its jaw, wanting to bite him. The other children mimic the same behavior. After the class, Sergeant Parks walks into Melania's cell as the others are getting ready to take off her restraints. The girl antagonizes him, so he leaves her restrained to the chair. The same night, Justino goes to see Melanie, and when she realizes that she has been left lighted, she walks into the cell and he starts taking off the restraints. The girl gets a sniff of the teacher's scent, and he starts turning like the other children. Before Melanie turns completely, she tells the teacher to get out. Later that night, Dr. Caldwell comes to visit her again. They chat and she asks the girl for another number. Melanie answers with the nomor 4, which is the same number as her own cell. The following morning, Sergeant Parks comes in to get Melanie. He gets her out of the cell and inside of an elevator. He wheels her out of the facility as gunshots are heard all around. Soldiers are seen running and shooting toward the fence of the military complex. Melanie is confused by the sight as Parks wheels her to another part of the complex, and he takes her in a laboratory where Dr. Caldwell is waiting. She asks the girl about Schrodinger's cat, but when she doesn't get the response she wants, she explains that the cat in the box is both alive and dead. Just like Melanie, a second doctor injects a sedative in her arm, instantly knocking her out. They move her to a slab and restrain her, but she quickly wakes up. Justino runs inside to stop the doctor from cutting up Melanie. After a few other promising words, she convinces the teacher to put her weapon down, and he immediately pepper sprays her, incapacitating her so the soldiers can arrest her. She explains to her that she isn't just cutting Melanie up, but is using her as a source for a vaccine. Justino is taken aware and the alarms start blaring. Caldwell tells the other doctor to drop the shutters, but as she does that, a zombie breaks through the glass, beating her relentlessly. Caldwell kills the zombies, cutting her own hand in the process. The other doctor starts turning completely, but she escapes the lab just in time. Melanie is left alone in the lab with the zombie. Though it doesn't touch her. The ghetto grabs a scalpel, and he frees herself from the restraints. Melanie walks outside to find complete chaos in the complex. Zombies running around, attacking soldiers as they try to shoot them down. Suddenly, she sees Justino getting beat up by the soldiers. Enraged, she runs toward them, attacks and bites them, eventually killing them both before passing out. Justino wakes to find Melanie beside her, picks her up and gets her inside a military vehicle. The zombies completely take over the complex, as the vehicle is seen leaving, followed by a herd. Sometime later it stops in the middle of nowhere. As Parks and Karen realize that Melanie is in the back of the vehicle, with them Justina lets the ghetto out. As Caldwell screams that doing that is not her decision to make, Melanie runs just a little way off from the vehicle, and he stops, clearly seeing the outside for the first time. The others stay by the vehicle, trying to radio the other outpost to no more avail, as the doctor tells them to retrieve her test subject. Parks, Kiran and Caldwell check the vehicle for supplies, but find no more water or food, just a mask used to retrieve zombies. The sergeant makes a plan to go south to Beacon, assuming everyone at the complex is dead, except the zombie children. They put Melanie on the gunner seat of the vehicle, strapped in and masked, and make their way to Arifor to get water. When they arrive at Ara, a few zombies find them, prompting a shootout with the soldiers. One of the soldiers gets bitten in the fight, so Parks waits a moment to see if he'll turn, and when the process starts, he shoots him, closing the doors of the vehicle. He realizes that Justino has brought Melanie in with them, which makes him terribly nervous. The ghetto asked about the zombies, and Caldwell explains that they were people infected with a fungus, transmitted through beating. When Parks goes to start the vehicle, he realizes that it's busted, and that they would have to go on foot through London, a quicker but more dangerous route. Parks and Kiran survey the perimeter, which they would have to cross. It's filled with zombies. They inform the others that there is no more alternative but to pass through the zombies, and find shelter and supplies. Once they're inside the city, the group walks between a mess of sleeping zombies, careful not to wake them suddenly. Park stops when they reach a dead end. A zombie mother pushes a baby cart toward them, and Caldwell goes up to her, making her stop.